Greetings, Reelers. My name is Philip, and together with my wife Sherry and two of our friends, Chris and James, we're Fellowship of the Reel. Four people who love talking about movies almost as much as we do watching them. We hope you will join us as we dig deep into cinematic masterpieces and some that are, well, maybe not. You have an opportunity to be the fifth host of our little show. Click the link in the show notes and leave us a voice message telling us what movie you would like us to review. You can also reach out on our Facebook page, Fellowship of the Reel. From all of us at Fellowship of the Reel, thanks for listening. Okay, on with the show.
Are you recording this?
Studying a movie in the mechanical level, I think, can really bring some revelation.
I believe that no one sets out to make a bad movie, with the exception of...
On paper, this should work.
Yeah, this should work.
But I just don't like it.
That's your own fault if you haven't seen it.
Way over budget, start cutting scenes. Even the actors don't know what that movie is about. Shit, I wish I wrote that.
Which I love the title, but that movie's trash.
Well, it's oatmeal, man. It's good for you. So this time, it is Chris's choice, and we're doing Rocky 2.
Is there a reason that we did number 2 instead of 1?
Yeah.
Or
so
3 or 4?
Yeah, it's I hesitate to say this so early when we talk about it, but I think it's my favorite one. Granted, love like all the Rockies with the exception of 5. Like a big Sylvester Stallone fan, big Rocky fan. Actually, like Rocky more than Rambo as far as like I had to pick his characters.
Okay.
And yeah, I think. I don't know, like, I'm sure growing up, like Rocky 4 or even 3, the ones with more fights and where I guess, dare I say, more cartoon villain-like bad guys.
Action movies.
Yeah, they turned to action movies a little bit, which I still love 3 and 4. But, like, those were probably my favorite growing up, but as I got older and started really dissecting movies and just kind of looking at stuff, 2, for whatever reason, became my favorite. I say whatever reason, we can get into that, but... There it is. I said it. Well, save it for later. That's the
phrase.
Yeah.
I was very familiar with like Mr. T and the Russian and all that, but for some reason, either I hadn't watched Rocky 1 and 2 in forever, or maybe never even saw Rocky 2. I don't remember because I watched it and I was trying to remember when I'd last seen it, and I couldn't. So,
nice.
Well, I know I had never seen Rocky nor Rocky 2 because.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys watched them both, which I thought.
Yeah,
Yes, I wanted to because of course I think I should have gone back and watched Alien before we watched the second Aliens. But we went and watched both of them, and I will say I did love Rocky's character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I love his character.
I was amazed at how much because as soon as it came on, I'm like, oh my god, 1970s,
right? Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll get through this. But I was amazed at how much I was into it. And then I remembered, well, that's the Rocky magic. Like,
right.
I knew the later Rocky movies, and as a kid watching them and remembering how emotional, especially with the music cued. And,
right.
And I was like, okay, well, these are 1970s. But I was totally like into it. I was,
right.
Crying in all the right places and all that. I was... Even like Rocky 2, I was like, yeah, it's every one of them it gets you, man.
From what I've seen, especially watching Rocky 2, I think I watched it 4 or 5 times this month.
Nice.
That's how I do my research, is I just watch the movie and absorb it. This one, I guess, to me, follows such the stereotypical story arc. Like, it's easy to digest. It pulls your heartstrings. You cheer in the right moments. You cry in the right moments. I enjoy it every time I've seen it, but like you said, growing up, it was Rocky 3, Rocky 4.
Yeah,
I
became where he fights the most, and
I became an adult, and then watched the first 2, and I was like, these are completely different styles of story, and these resonate more with me, and I like it a lot more for different reasons. If I want a good action movie, or if I want a good soundtrack to work out to, it'd be Rocky 4.
Sure.
That's the only one I had ever seen, and I saw it in the movie theater, and I don't remember why I went because I am not into fighting or boxing or anything, but I remember enjoying the movie, but that is the only one I've ever seen before we watched 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think I saw Mr. T and Russian. I saw both of those in the theater.
Nice.
Which one was Mr. T in?
3.
3, and then
Yeah.
is 4 the Russian?
Yeah.
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 5. What's the guy's name in 5?
Tommy Gunn is the character, and
Yeah.
I think Tommy Morrison was the actual
Morrison,
boxer or whatever, which
That's when they tried to bring it back down to earth after 4.
they did, but yeah, it's a mess because like
It
you,
really is.
yeah, it's a mess. It's almost like the whole. I compare it to like the Star Wars holiday special. It's like that episode you don't talk about. You know?
Rocky 5, really?
Yeah, it's real bad. Like they even brought back the same director that did the first one, but like I feel like so. I don't know. Someone I heard this somewhere. Somebody said it or in conversation or whatever. But like to me, like the biggest problem in Rocky 5 is like if you pull from Tropic Thunder, like he went full retard.
Yeah.
And like in Rocky, the rest of the Rockies, like he's got like a relaxed brain, as he says in 2, right? But he's not full retard. Like he's still like Forrest Gump. If Forrest Gump could fight, to me, like he's very humble. He's humility.
Yeah.
And I think he's even kind of funny, right? But in 5, like he's just so dumb and just so like Stallone like dialed it up to 11 or whatever, and I feel like, and that's on the director to me and Stallone, like the performance. I feel like it's almost like he'd gone on and done all these other things so successful that he almost like couldn't find his way back to Rocky. Is what it seems like. He was trying to force it, and that's what's amazing to me because that was only 5 years after Rocky 4.
Yeah.
But 17 years later, in 2006, I think, with Rocky Balboa, like so much more time passed that he was able to find his way back. Because his performance in Rocky Balboa fits with the others. So, like, that's a much better movie. It's just weird that, like, he needed time to find in different circumstances, That in late 80s, 90s, like, that's when he was super big. And he's admitted, like, very vain, very, like he had... Stallone as a person, right, in his career and all that. So I just think he had a hard time.
Okay, do you think, was it right after he did Rhinestone or something?
Oh, no, why?
Rhinestone, yeah.
Just trying to work it in, or what?
When was Rhinestone? Early 80s, late 80s? No, it couldn't be late 80s because it was before he got
I
big.
like that movie.
I've actually never seen it. Never seen it. Anyhow, like he went full retard. And then, so like this guy who, Rocky's known for taking punches, right? And his, as a boxer, his defense is terrible, right? Like, put your freaking hands up, stop taking these right on the chin.
Right.
But that's what he's known for, is a guy who can take a beating. Like, 2 actually has like one of my favorite lines in the whole series and in any movie when Duke, Apollo's trainer's talking to him and trying to convince him not to take the fight. Yeah. And he says he's all wrong for us. And he says, I saw you beat that man like no man's been beat before, and he kept coming after you. Like, that's Rocky, right? That's who he is. So then in 5, they give this guy brain damage. So as a reward for being this guy, now he gets brain damage. It's like you can't take a superhero in a way, right? And then like make him human, like, I guess. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it bugged me. It was all these... They had to go back to the streets and return to the roots of Philadelphia. So, like, the way, the story they came up with for this, which I guess is Stallone, like, it just felt too false and didn't ring true.
The storyline was Paulie, after the 4th movie, lost their money, and they come back broke.
Yeah, so now he's broke, and he's got brain damage. Well, he was already dumb. He didn't need the brain damage, but they give him the brain damage because he can't fight anymore, because he takes on an apprentice, right, and trains Tommy Gunn, which is what happened with Creed, and again, they did that better. So, I mean, it's kind of nice that with time, with Rocky Balboa and then the Creeds, he's able to kind of fix 5. Tell the story he wanted to tell, it just didn't work,
Yeah, my favorite line from one of my favorite lines about Rocky the Russian, I think, says it's like hitting a piece of steel.
Right. Right. Yeah. So, I don't know. So, you can't take that. You don't give him brain damage, man. Like, they wish they'd come up with something different,
No, the things I really liked about 1 and 2 is that he has so many... throwaway lines or whatever.
Right.
You got brain damage, Rock. I don't see any. Yeah, he's really upset.
What does he say? What are you gonna do with the money for the fight? Oh, I'm gonna buy Paulie a snow cone machine.
Right. Yeah, you like snow cones, right? He starts,
I'm gonna pay the rent, and then
You got anything derogatory to say about the champ? Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, he's great. It's like he's derogatory. Yeah, it's almost like he was. It comes off like he's thinking about, what can I say derogatory, but you can tell like he doesn't know what that word means. So, he's great.
The mob guy wants him to put his money in condominiums. He says, well, I don't use them.
Good stuff. Again, his Rocky's humor, Stallone's humor, I think really works for this.
Yeah,
character. Even the house. It's the address is 2313.
Yeah,
those numbers almost add up to 9. That's a good omen.
Yeah. I'd have to go back and check, but I think those house numbers changed. Like when he says that, they're house numbers But later on, it's like 23-13. Because I saw it and I was like, because the numbers he says add up to
9.
Yeah, aren't the same numbers I believe as.
Oh yeah, no, I always thought they were the same.
I'd have to.
He says it, and they do add up to 9. But he's he's dumb.
Yeah,
almost adds up to 9.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Well, they do add up to 9, dumbass. But
Yeah, sure.
that's what makes him.
Yeah, all right. I'd have to go back and check, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but the thing about Rocky is you love him so much that you're just cheering for him the whole time.
Right.
Oh yeah. Well, I hadn't seen these in a while, and as the first one starts, it's the end. I'm sorry, as the second one starts, the first one's ending.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot the first words that Stallone says of dialogue are to Adrian.
Yeah.
It's the fight's ended. She's coming to embrace him, and he says, "Where's your hat?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then she goes, "I love you." Oh, I love you too.
Yeah, well, Sherry saw that and she's like, she lost her hat, and I don't know if that was, I don't know if that was planned or not. It
Yeah,
looked like,
right, I
it
don't
looked like
know.
she looked back and, yeah, no,
Nice.
Yeah, it took me off guard several times. I was like, "Oh, that's a funny line." So endearing of his
Right.
character.
talking about that scene, like, so you have, it's the ending of Rocky 1, but again, I might have to go back and watch, but is there additional, like, overdub dialogue in that opening scene of Rocky 2 that wasn't necessarily in, because I don't remember them talking as much.
Like him and Adrian?
No, him and Apollo.
Oh no, the ambulance scene.
No, I'm talking about when they're in the ring fighting.
Oh, in the ring fighting.
Yeah,
because I didn't. When I watched the beginning, I thought the same thing.
You're talking about, you're going down and no way and all that stuff.
When they're tussling and it's
there'll be no rematch. That
don't want one.
Don't want, I think that's in there, but it seems like there was more taunting. Like you're going down and
I don't know. I thought it was. I'd have to go back and look at it. I mean, I thought it was the same, but I know sometimes he'll recut the stuff a little bit, because he does that, like you're saying, does that in all the movies, and I'd kind of, in a way, almost forgot that. Like, I started up, I'm like, oh yeah, these are, this and like Back to the Future, like plays the into the first one to kind of get you in the mood,
right?
And he recently had a recut of Rocky 4. And he released it in theaters, like one day or something back in November, I guess, of last year. And so we went and saw it because I was curious to see how he'd recut it. And actually, I heard there was like 40 minutes of new footage, so I thought he'd added 40 minutes, made it like a 2.5 hour plus movie. It's really the same length. He just cut out so much and re-edited a lot. But it
cut out
the
plays, robot.
He cut out the robot. Yeah, but it plays 3. And actually, to your point we were talking about earlier, is it feels a lot better. It feels less like this 80s cheesy deal, and it feels more like the first 2. But anyhow, like he played the beginning of 3, and I'm pretty sure he put more of 3 in there than what was originally in there. But it's a, I don't want to call it a trick, but a tool that works, that gets you into the mood for the movie you're about to see.
Definitely got me in the mood because the movie starts basically at the hospital. It's slow. So there's not a fight again until the end.
Sure.
So watching that at the beginning, you get riled up. Okay, I'm in for this ride, and then okay, it's gonna be a long movie.
Yeah, that was Stacy's biggest complaint was just how slow it is, and how she says it's better than 1, but it's slow and it drags, and to me it, like, I guess I can understand that, but like I guess like I love the story and love Rocky so much that I'll watch him read the newspaper. I mean, like, it doesn't bother me what he's doing. Like, I really like the aspect that they show him trying to live a normal life.
Right, right.
He's retired now. He tries to go get, he buys a house, he buys a car, tries to get a job, right? And with a ninth, grade education, well, I'd like to, make money sitting down over there like you're doing, I mean, just, and it's, to me, it's all like theme. I didn't have no one specifically stated it, what I wrote down, but I feel like he kind of plays with this theme throughout the whole series. Like, he actually vocalizes it in Rocky Balboa, Fighters Fight.
Yeah.
And then even in 4, where Apollo's like, they had this big discussion about, Rocky says, we can't fight anymore. We're turning into regular people. And then Apollo's like, no, you can't just turn it off and on like some radio.
Right,
we're warriors, we're fighters. So I feel like that's kind of the theme he was kind of playing with here is Rocky is a boxer, is a fighter. He can't go on and do this. He even says it at one point, I don't know anything else.
Right. I actually, because I was struggling with the theme, and I think I found something we'll talk about in a second.
Cool.
We need to talk about box office and stuff real quick. Does anybody? I don't have it pulled up. I can pull it up.
Yeah, I've got it. So budget was $7 million, and it made $200 million worldwide, and I think like 80 something here.
Yeah.
So obviously, a tremendous hit, big hit. It's a sequel, so I mean it.
Well, what year was that?
It came out June 15th, 1979.
79.
And the first one was like
First one, 76.
Before the Rhinestone movie you were asking about.
There you go. And I thought it was,
so it cost $200 million and made $7 million.
Yeah.
right.
Well,
right.
whatever.
And most of that went to Dolly. But
Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes, critics have it at 72%, and audiences have it at 82%.
Yeah. Huh.
And
I mean,
then-
72 is pretty good, but I would have expected more.
Yeah, same here. I was a little disappointed, but got the rose-colored glasses on.
Now, yeah, Stallone wrote and directed this one.
Correct. He wrote all of them, including the Abysmal Five, but he directed 2 through 6.
Okay. Now,
Excuse me, 2 through 4, and then Rocky Balboa, which is 6. The John G. Alvinson did this one, and then 5.
I got you. All right.
And that guy also did like Karate Kid, and he did some other this underdog rousing sports story is kind of his shtick.
Sure. Was he? I know it was at least nominated for best screenplay. Rocky 1. Did he win for that one, or was it just nominated?
No, I think he won for a screenplay. Yeah.
Yeah, screenplay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to say that he had actually
Yeah.
won it. They didn't want. I read somewhere that they didn't want Stallone to direct, and he wasn't going to release Rocky rights to him unless
Talking about this one, yeah.
this one, Rocky 2. Yeah.
Yeah, the original guy was making something else. Saturday Night Fever, which is interesting because Stallone ends up directing Staying Alive, the sequel.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
But yeah, he was doing that, so he couldn't. And then Stallone wanted to direct it and basically muscle his way in. And I think the studios, since the first one was so well received, they kind of caved a little bit because I think what I'd read was he had only directed Paradise Alley at this point. Stallone had, which was not a hit and a success. So I don't think I've ever even seen it. But so again, so much of I felt like this is probably part of it, and to me, probably why it works so well is there's so many parallels with the Rocky story that like parallels with his actual life.
Yeah.
And just being the underdog and convincing people to give him a shot.
The Sherry wanted me to be careful here, and I don't want to offend any of our Philadelphia listeners.
Yeah.
But 1970s Philadelphia depressed the heck out of me. That, like, if I was living in 1970s Philadelphia, I would spend every waking minute trying to get out of there.
Well, I mean, I also think like where he lives, right? I mean, yeah, he gets a nicer house, but like it's
I guess it was all inner cities at the time, though. Like there's New York and
I mean, I feel like they show a lot of the the I don't want to say slummier parts, but
I mean it looked
like Rocky doesn't have a lot of money. Say again.
It looked from the 70s when we were watching it. However, we watched someone go around and show
Scott on tape. It's a YouTuber we follow.
Watch the filming locations, and it looks the same.
This was
in some places, like where he lived.
We did all the filming
where he moved,
right?
Where the gym was. And he even said he was approached by several people who either opened the door or told him to get out of the neighborhood.
Yeah. But shady types, like
I still would like to visit the stairs, the statue, and things like that.
It's really
I don't care to see
I've been.
I don't care to see his houses, and then along the river where they were showing where he ran in one movie. It wasn't 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But
we went a while ago. Like Lath, unfortunately, like I'd like to go again, just because Lath was so young, he doesn't remember. But we went and saw I hesitate to call them the Rocky Steps. It's a library actually up at the top.
Oh, I wondered what that was.
And they showed in Creed 2, I think. The statue is actually, I don't remember what year, but it was at the top and they moved it. It's down at the bottom of the steps, like to the right.
Yeah.
But up there, if you go to the front where the steps were, go up to the top of the steps where the statue is, his footprint is in cement up there at the top or whatever. That's really cool. Yeah,
Did you run up the stairs?
I didn't, and I should have. It's one of those things I regret. I was just like, no, I don't want to do this. And then, I immediately regret it because everybody is doing that, right? I mean, you see the steps, it's hard not to fight the instinct. I don't know how I did it, but
yeah. Even on, what is it, Scott on tape?
Scott on tape.
People, he was filming and he said, here comes someone running.
People were in the background or whatever.
I don't think I could make it up those steps.
Right. Maybe that's what I was worried about. I don't know. Have my Rocky moment and then trip and fall.
Yeah.
But
knock your teeth out.
Knock my teeth out and bust this guy's teeth out. Anyhow, it was really cool.
Yeah. All right. So opening image.
So even though it's the beginning for me, even though it's the beginning of the end of the first one, I still chose that as my opening image. It was him in the ring, bloodied, but lost the decision. He got his goal at the time. He went the distance, but because the closing is obviously that he wins this time.
Right. Yeah, I just have opening image, Rocky Undaunted, going the distance with Apollo. This is who Rocky is.
Oh, and it's the genres I have is Golden Fleece because it's a sports
I
fleece.
didn't even do the genre this time, so I'm the one that didn't do. What is Golden Fleece?
That's the journey, the road, and the most the way Blake Snyder does is pretty much like all sports movies are Golden Fleece because there's a prize at the end, right?
Yeah.
A road, a team, and a prize. And so I think that.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Rocky's got his team: Paulie, Mickey, Adrian, and then the prize is the title, and then the road is the training journey to get there.
Yeah, I completely forgot, but that's probably right because if most sports movies fall into that, then
he calls it a sports fleece, I guess is kind of the subgenre of Golden Fleece. The Star Wars is a Golden Fleece, and like Saving Private Ryan's a Golden Fleece. Like any kind of, a lot of times the prize is even what they call a MacGuffin. Like it doesn't really matter. It's just the thing to get.
So the Mighty Ducks is a Golden
Correct.
Fleece?
Yep.
All right. We'll review that later then.
There you go.
Yeah, so the setup that I found, James had mentioned that it does follow a story arc. I think some of the beats are late, like kind of way late. But I think that's what you get with a Rocky movie though, because you know what's coming at the end, but that's always the last 30 minutes of the movie, right? So
Right.
So for setup, and I do have some thoughts about theme because I struggled with that until a certain image came up. Anyway, the setup: Apollo wants a rematch. Rocky says he's officially retired, and then we talked about this already. But even in this scene, there's just some very cool lines. Brain damage, I don't see any. Rocky, what did you think about the fight or whatever? I don't know. I think I maybe should have stayed in school. I love these exchanges, right? I mean, and it makes you instantly love him,
Right?
I just totally. How do you feel, Rocky? Oh, very handsome. Now I did notice.
It just made me think of another exchange. I didn't write it down, but after he's kind of bandaged up and like half his face is covered in bandages and he's laying in the hospital bed, he's talking to Paulie and he's how's my face look? And Paulie goes, I wouldn't want it.
Right.
That's good stuff.
Well, there's at the end when he's in the ring with Apollo, Apollo's taunting him and Mickey says, "Don't let it bother you, kid." And he says, "Would it bother you?"
Right. Right.
Yeah. I mean, he still looks bad.
Yeah.
Now, I did notice that very early on, there's like three people that immediately want something from him. Like he's
Interesting.
He's gone the distance with, so a job, an autograph, and endorsements. Paulie instantly wants him to get him a job with his old boss, right?
Yeah.
The guy's hounding him about endorsements.
And the nurse autograph.
Yeah.
And then Tony wants him to invest in his condominiums, and then the nurse wants an autograph. So like people, he hadn't even won, but obviously he's got some notoriety, and immediately people are going to start wanting something from him. And
that's the first time I caught that was, I guess the last time I watched it was the nurse was, can you sign this to my son? Whatever.
To my good friend Charlie or whatever.
Yeah.
Because
I
he
don't
makes
even know.
that I don't even know. Yeah.
Right.
Makes a crack about it. Yeah.
I was like, man, yeah, like you said, Paulie asking for the job, the nurse. It's like everybody wants something from him.
Right.
And he's just Rocky.
Yeah, and I feel like
the same guy before the fight in the first movie.
Right. Yeah, I do think on that. I think he has a flat arc. I think he's the same character the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he changes.
right, yeah.
As far as this movie,
Yes, yeah.
maybe all of them, but yeah, I think he's a flat arc for sure. I think he changes the people around him. And we could talk about if that could be developed better, right?
Well,
I mean,
I don't know.
he felt differently.
Well, I mean, the opening image is undaunted because it's his heart, right? Like this is, and at the end, that heart, that ability to be undaunted and not fall, that's what gets him through the.
Right.
So I think flat arc, and I think that he stays the same, and it allows him to win, because he got a split decision in that. Like technically, he won that fight according to some of the judges.
He didn't
Correct.
lose.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah.
He did not lose.
And that's what ate at Apollo. Man, I beat him, but I got the decision, but I didn't beat him.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
All right. So the setup, and then there's a lot of setup because he marries Adrian.
He takes her to the zoo to ask her to marry him.
Yeah, which is interesting. Yeah.
Well,
in the first
there's
movie.
a couple things about that because Paulie was saying you take retards to the zoo, right?
It wasn't Paulie. It was one of Gazzo's
Yeah,
henchmen or whatever.
his driver, yes.
Because she's not retarded. She's shy. And then you say, hey, Rocky, you know what you do with retards? You take him to the zoo.
Yeah. So I
He's
thought,
like, I'm going to bust your face. Yeah.
so I thought that was a little weird at first, but I think there's a reason for
Okay.
this. Okay, and this is because I knew Stallone was a great writer, but does Rocky have a theme? Yeah, well, take a punch or whatever. Okay, but there is a theme, and you hinted at it. A fighter fights, right? And he'll say later, "I never stopped asking you to be a woman. Please don't stop asking me to be a man."
Right.
Okay, so you got to be who you are. But early on, there's an image. Okay, and definitely it plays later in later movies. But
the tiger.
the tiger.
It's on his back on the jacket that he buys, and then it's at the zoo.
The tiger in the cage at the zoo, right?
Yeah. I didn't think about that.
I
And
never caught
Yeah,
that
very
at all.
very cool.
and he's
And,
wearing
Eye of the Tiger, in the third
Yeah,
one, yeah.
that- well, I love tigers,
Yeah.
so
and he's
that was
wearing
the
this
first thing.
tiger jacket with the tiger on the back. So what you're seeing is a tiger in the cage, and tigers don't belong in cages, man.
Oh, very cool.
I like
Yeah.
it.
Very cool.
So as soon as I saw that, I said, "Well, that's the theme. It's unspoken, but Stallone is no idiot.
Yeah.
He knew. There's no way you
Right.
have a tiger on the jacket." When he's doing the commercials,
Oh, they put him in a cage.
they put him in a cage, and he's got tiger print on with the club,
Yeah.
and he's in a cage, and he
He's
doesn't
out of
belong.
his element. He can't perform the lines.
Yeah.
Smell mainly.
Doesn't smell. Yeah.
Which I looked at that damn card, right? Like the way they spelled mainly, like they spelled it right, but it looks funny. It looks like an I. Like I can see why he said
Yeah,
mainly,
Yeah, there was no way he was going to do that
Right.
successfely, right?
Right.
Tiger print in the cage, right? So I'm like, yeah, Stallone knows what he's
Very,
doing.
very cool. Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't notice those, man.
He says he starts enjoying the spoils of his victory, spending all this money, new car, house, jewelry, or whatever.
He even buys Polly a watch.
Yes.
Yeah, that he didn't thank him for.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a good.
You don't have to thank me for the job, Rocky. We don't have to thank me
Shakes
for the
his
watch.
hand. Shakes his hand. You don't have to thank for
Yeah,
the watch either.
That's what I noticed in that first. The whole thing is everybody's taking advantage of him.
Yeah,
Everybody
sure. Yeah.
except Adrian. But
Right.
she's you're retired. She's holding him in the cage
Yeah, she's
emotionally.
and I'd forgotten about the character of Mickey, but Burgess Meredith, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Man, oh man, he is so good.
Yeah, he's great.
As he is, like, even to the point, and not all of it. The bulk of it is him and his acting, absolutely. But they light him correctly with
Yeah.
like he's in shadows.
Face is gnarled, and
Ah,
yeah, it's a mess. Yeah.
yeah,
Even when Rocky goes to see him, right? Like I love how the key to the gym is in Rocky's hat.
yeah,
Like he takes his hat off because in the first one, the combination to his locker is in his hat.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But Rocky opens up the gym, goes in there, starts going up the steps, and it's late at night. So Mickey comes out with like a bash. I'm like, who the hell is that? Just ready to bash somebody's
I don't remember
bash somebody's
giving
head
you a
in.
key.
Yeah, ready to bash somebody's head in.
Yeah, yeah, no,
it's good
he is.
stuff. Did you say that? He says, I don't remember
Yeah.
giving you a key. Nice. I didn't catch that.
Uh,
Sorry, I interrupted you. Just talking about Mickey, yeah.
no, he is amazing. So anyway, but still, Rocky will even say something, and I believe that lines are chosen by the writer, right?
Sure.
Okay,
Sure.
because Stallone says a couple of things during the commercial when they're in the cage, and then when he's doing
Got to be punchy doing this in front of my wife.
sure. But he says the guy says to him after he's pissed and wants to fire Rocky, "Will you get out of the cage?" And I think that's the question of the movie: will Rocky get out of the cage and
Oh,
be
nice.
Rocky?
Nice.
And then in that second commercial shoot, he's like, "This whole thing ain't right." Talking about what you're talking about, of course. But on some level, yeah, he's telling the audience, he's telling himself, "I am not where I need to be." Right?
Well, even the audience, I mean, I didn't think about it till just now, but obviously they didn't go pay their money and go see Rocky 2 to watch him do commercials.
Right,
They
right.
want to see, damn, he almost beat Apollo last time. Let's see if he can beat him this
Yeah,
time.
we all know what's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the commercial career is a bust. The regular job pursuit is a bust. He can't get a job, nothing. So this is all driving him.
Well, he gets one.
And the meat packer or whatever.
Yeah, because he keeps trying to go after all these like office jobs that he
Right.
doesn't have any skills
They
for.
fire him. They wind up firing him.
Yeah, they laid him off. I'm just saying, but I think that's important that he didn't just go in, hey, yo, Adrian, I did some interviews. This is not working. I'm going to go fight. Like,
Right.
he actually held the job, and if they hadn't laid him off, how long would he have stayed in that cage, to your point? You know what I mean? It's
Right.
interesting. You know what? I didn't think about it. Maybe that's some of the theme, too. Like, it's dead animals that he's dealing with, right? It was cows and stuff. It's meat,
Yeah.
right? If that plays into the, being an animal in a cage and,
Sure.
this is a dead-end job. You're going to end up just like this meat here. you know?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
I noticed the thing though. Everything in Rocky's life to him is normal. He doesn't understand why he can't box anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand. I'm the same guy. Why can't I go back
Right.
to the way it was before Apollo? I feel the same. Everybody else around me's changed.
Yeah.
And that's the frustrating thing that I noticed of he has to go just get a job, and now he's getting laid off. He's too famous to be a boxer, and nobody wants to touch him anymore.
Right.
It's
and he's made this promise.
For him.
Made this promise to Adrian, right?
Yeah, right. Which is
and all he wants to do is continue to live the life he was living.
He knows he can beat Apollo, or at least I mean, he almost beat him before. Like he knows, like man, I almost did it before. I want a second chance. Like he
sure, yeah. I think
he knows how close he came. Yeah,
I think
he knows that's the best thing he's ever. The only thing he's ever been good at, and
then as soon as he steps out of that ring, it's all taken away from him.
Right.
And that's obviously
that's what I like about. Yeah, he has to lose the car, he loses the job, he doesn't lose the house. Right, they're able to keep the house, but it's tries to live a normal life and it doesn't work. He loses all these things.
I think he wants to believe that he can do other things, right?
Oh, for sure. Because he got a shot way late in life, and
Mickey says your career's over, kid. He says I didn't have a career, now I have one, and now I don't have.
I love that scene where he does the finger thing, and I see it. You see nothing. You would have caved in your whole face.
He's gonna kick in your face.
You know? Right. He's like, what do you think the champ would have done to you? I don't know. Hurt me bad. No, hurt you permanent.
Yeah.
Like I mean, like I love that scene. Like I mean, you're talking about tears and stuff. That scene gets me every time when he knows. All right, Mickey just showed him smash. It slapped him in the face.
Yeah.
And he has to, kind of work at the gym. And he's like, you really want them to see you carrying Spick Bucket and stuff? And I got to be around it.
Yeah.
That gets me. Pulls at the heartstrings, like, majorly.
And that's what I mean. Is like, I got to be around it.
Yeah.
And nobody will let him in.
Yep.
That pulled on me. It was tremendous.
At some point, I guess Adrian gets pregnant, and then again, one of these, what I consider a key phrase, and I can't remember who he said it to. It might be talking to Adrian. Do I want to be doing something I don't want to do? I don't remember the exact contents of that line. Maybe it's when he was working out in the basement. I can't remember. I have to go back and look. But in any event, he's talking to somebody, and he verbalizes this. And
nice.
So he's struggling. Like he wants to provide for Adrian and all that. And she said, well, we'll get by. And he says, well, that's just it, getting by.
I don't want to just get by.
I don't want to get by. I want you to have the things now,
Right.
Because in his mind, a man provides for his family.
Yeah, it's 70s, yeah.
And
also in the interview, one of the interviewers says, hey, why don't you try to go back to boxing? I heard you're a pretty good fighter. Like, so there's even these hints of, you're on the wrong path,
Right.
Sure.
And again, back to what James saying, he's the only one that wants to go down this road again.
Yeah.
Well, shit, that and Apollo, the guy that wants to fight him, where everybody else, he's got no support,
Yeah. He says one more time, I'm a fighter, that's what I do. So I'm assuming this is in that conversation with Adrian at the bottom or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we talked about the theme. I didn't hear an early statement, but I think that tiger, I think the whole cage thing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I did not catch that. That's really
being
cool.
who you're supposed to be, is a tiger supposed to be in a cage? No, he's not. So I think that's completely intentional. So now we have Rocky's World. What do you have as your catalyst?
I don't want to say double bump, but losing the job at the meat locker,
I
right?
have a double bump. Yeah.
And then him going to, well, no, I guess that's it. Him losing the job and deciding, I got to go fight. I tried doing this regular thing. Because to me, his break into 2 is going to see Mickey.
Okay, yeah.
It's early, but Snyder doesn't talk about it a lot, but it's in Joseph Campbell and Vogler talked about the writer's journey, the hero's journey. Like a lot of times when they break into 2, they cross the threshold, they don't always land on, solid ground, and then they stumble and can have like a fall like right out of the gate, I guess, right? And I kind of feel like that's what happens here, because he breaks into 2, says, I'm going to go fight, right? I can't do anything else. And immediately Mickey tells him, you don't have the skills anymore. Yeah. Like Mickey, the guy who was in his corner and trained him, doesn't support him right out of the gate.
Right.
But his opinion never changes. Like Rocky's, like he still wants to fight, and I'll just go. I'll work at the gym, right? I got to be around it. Like he's still like, I don't know what he thought. Like I get it, I got to be around it, but like, did he think, well, Mickey sees me carrying buckets, maybe he'll go, all right, okay, let's train. So I don't know, you know what I mean?
Well, I think he just had to.
Because then after that, he gets all this harassment and all this stuff, and disrespect. But he still wants to fight the whole time,
right?
And you really want him, even though it's not Rocky's character, you really want him to smash that guy's face. This guy talking all this shit is like, which I guess that's part of it. Like that, like all right, if he gets mad enough, he's gonna knock this dude out, and so it's not worth it. But you have it later, right? Because my first instinct was that everything was later, and I'm like, all right, well, what if it's not? Because there's a lot in there. If the break into 2 is way late, is that all set up? Is that all debate? Is that all catalyst? So I thought, well, let me write it down this way and kind of see how it plays out.
Yeah, I have the catalyst is with no other options. Rocky says he has to fight, right?
Yep.
The debate is he promised Adrian he could lose his eye. Mickey knows the danger and warns him off. That scene at the top of the stairs,
right?
Gives him a job at the gym. So at that point,
It's all debate to you?
I think he's debated and decided, okay, well, I can't fight. Nobody's going blind. Yeah, and then Mickey slaps him or whatever. So I think he's debating at this point, and I think at that point he's shown, okay, yeah, I can't do it, but I got to be around it. So he's hauling spit buckets, right?
Yeah.
Apollo is his double bump because he's still pressing for a rematch, and then Rocky is sweeping the gym, and he has the conversation with his old boss, the mob guy or whatever.
Yeah. Remember that guy, Rock?
Remember that guy, Rock. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And then he goes home, and I guess he has the conversation with Adrian in the basement. Yeah, I think it.
No, the basement was when he was laid off. That might have been the conversation in the bedroom when he says, "I gotta be a fighter.
Okay, yes.
I'm not asking you to not be a woman."
Because right after that, Apollo does the public call out.
Yeah,
and that's what Mickey sees on the TV. But Rocky's sitting there by the stairs with the dog watching it,
the TV,
and he gets mad and goes up the stairs.
Because he says, "I'm supposed to be." The conversation with Adrian, you're right. I'm supposed to be a fighter. I don't want you to do it. That's all I know. This is the exchange. I don't want you to do it. It's all I know. Don't ask me to stop being a man / beast tiger, right? I mean,
Tiger can't change its stripes.
Right. Absolutely. So I have the break into 2 because then there's there's a knock at the door and it's Mickey, right?
Yep.
Because Mickey saw the commercial where Apollo is taunting. And he gets mad, and Mickey knocks on the door, and the first thing he says, I think we ought to knock his block off. Absolutely. And out the door they go.
Yeah.
I'm nailing that as the second act.
I thought about that. I did. Is that your second act too?
That's my second act. Adrian there on the stairs looking out as they go out the door.
Right, yeah.
With the meanest mug look ever, you son of a bitch. But anyhow.
Yeah.
I was watching it. I was like, I think I know where the second act is.
So that was
it's a door.
That was my instinct. But I guess where I struggle is from the moment him going to see Mickey on the stairs, right? Hey, let's do this, right? And I don't feel like he ever changes, right? He wants to do it the whole time, and he's just getting all these obstacles. You don't have the skills anymore, kid. His wife doesn't want him to. So to me, I have the Mickey coming because Mickey turns him down and then changes his mind. I have that as a false victory, as a midpoint. Finally, he's in his corner, yeah.
Because I struggle with that too.
Good argument.
He gets everything he thinks he wants, right?
Yeah.
But after that, he starts training half-assed and
yeah. So you have it as a false victory. What did you?
Yeah, false victory.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So Mickey coming to get him was a false victory.
That's the way I have it, yeah.
Makes sense to me, too.
Yeah.
See both ways.
Just and the part that I struggle with, one, it's so late that's breaking into 2, which we've seen a lot of movies that are going to do that. And then just like I said, his debate, I don't feel like he's debating anymore. Like he's made up his mind. Everybody else around him's debating.
He's made up his mind when he goes sees Mickey at the top of the stairs.
Correct.
But he walks down those stairs having decided not to do it, right?
Defeated, dejected.
I can't do it. Just I got. Thanks, Mickey, for letting me haul spit buckets, and then he's hauling spit buckets. He's not even training. He's just showing guys how to snarl and hauling spit buckets. And so I think at that point he's debated and decided, right?
Yeah.
But then he has this conversation with Adrian, and so now he's still sort of changed his mind again. Oh, I tried just being around it, and that's not enough. Don't ask me not to do this. Mickey, who is a fighter himself, sees this, and he's not going to take that. Let's knock his block off. Absolutely.
Right.
So at that point, I think he's decided. So I think he's answered the call, debating, yes, no, yes, I can do this, no, okay, I can't do it. Mickey says, I can do it, yes, let's go do it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, but I do think that the beats are not, I don't think they're
crystal clear on all of them, yeah.
Crystal clear or on time. But with Rocky, you always get set way back because when the fight comes, Rocky has to be way back because he's got to overcome.
Right.
The fight has to be him coming from last to first or whatever,
Yeah, he almost follows Hero's Journey more than Blake Starner because it's like one big ordeal,
Yes. And to be fair, we analyze these movies according to Blake Snyder, but Blake Snyder was not around.
Correct.
When these movies were being written. However, story structure has many titles, many categories, but essentially Hero's Journey and Catboy have different names for a lot
of the same stuff, yeah.
A lot of the same stuff. And Hero's Journey will say you can rearrange them and all this stuff any way you want.
Right.
Snyder is a little more strict.
Rigid.
Yeah, a little more rigid. So I think that you're probably right about the Hero's Journey, and that's why maybe I think they're late according to Snyder or whatever. The fun and games in Rocky movies are always awesome. Starting off with the press conference, what do you think about fighting at the wherever it is, the Palladium or whatever? Oh, I like it. It's about 10 minutes from my house.
Right.
he seems pretty mad. List of things he's going to buy. Anything derogatory? Yeah, he's great. We talked about that or whatever.
And then the Kentucky Fried Idiot,
Yeah.
Chasing the chicken.
Yeah. Why do you wear those sweats? It brings me luck. It brings flies. I love these two, man. Studying tapes, coming up with a new strategy. Now, this is at the end. He's a southpaw, fights left-handed, but Mickey wants him to fight right-handed.
Protect his bad eye.
Yeah, which he does. Now, does he ever switch in the fight? Because he says, "I don't want to do tricks. I think
he does. Yeah, when Mickey, like he says, "I don't want to no tricks. It's too late for that," or whatever. Yeah. But then Mickey still yells, "Now!" And I think he does.
Okay, all right. Because one review I read,
because he knocks him out with the left.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so one review I said that he did switch. I wasn't able. I don't know enough about boxing to tell whether he switched or not.
Right.
But he said no tricks, and then I thought, well, does he not do it? But then other reviewers said, he did do it. And
well, it's interesting though too, because like the scene where he's, I hate to rag on it, but the scene where he's hit that bag 5,000 times or whatever. He's doing it all with his left hand. It's not his right. If he's training to be not a southpaw, it should have been his right. I didn't understand what they were doing there.
Learning to throw jab with a left hand. Which is the right-handed pose.
Is it?
Yeah, because you're jabbing with your left to set up the right.
Yeah.
I would think.
Okay, so it's not wrong. Okay, I thought.
Yes, I don't know.
I thought southpaw was you hit with your left.
You jab with your left. You hit with your right. On a southpaw, you jab with your right. You swing.
Gotcha.
With your
because that's like your big knockout punches, right?
Then
it's my lack of knowledge.
Yeah, I don't know.
I thought southpaw was like you hit with your left, but you're saying that's the hand that leads out, where most guys lead out.
Southpaw, your right hand is out.
Yeah.
Your left is back, protecting your face.
Gotcha. Okay.
It throws. So if you were to fight right-handed, we would be mirroring each other, and that's what's so challenging about it.
Okay.
Is because our jabs will run into each other, our crosses will run into each other.
But as a southpaw, you throw more right-handed jabs than left,
and you're gonna power with your left.
Yeah, because like
okay, yeah. Okay. So him knocking him out with a power left is switching back.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay. Yeah. Because like
turn into a boxing podcast all of a sudden.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, no, that's.
Well, I know nothing about the mechanics.
And I could totally be wrong. I'm not a boxing professional.
No, I misunderstood it then.
Because years and years ago, Sharon and I, for fitness, took martial arts or whatever, and there are stances, right? And even Bruce Lee, so you'll see him standing with a guard hand and a.
Yeah, and I knew that, so I guess I guess I just thought it was the.
And so, like, I don't know if it's because it's predominantly like right-handed or whatever, but a lot of the stances where you block with your left and you come in with your right, whatever. And so I guess that's the predominant style. But I didn't know enough about boxing mechanics to be able to pick that up. But some say he did, so I guess he did switch then.
Yeah, it's like in baseball, you got a left-handed pitcher against a left batter, right batter. There's a lot more to just throwing punches and boxing.
Sure.
Yeah. So, and I loved Mickey. I just love Mickey, but you get goosebumps when Mickey's like speed. Right. It's just
Well, at the beginning though, during their training, he's half-assing it. Rocky's half-assing.
You're training like a bum.
Well, it's because of Adrian, right?
Yeah,
sure.
She's not supporting him.
Yeah, she's not. Yeah, she's working at the pet shop across the street. Still, not into it. Yeah, he is half-assing training because his heart's not into it.
Yeah.
Even though he got what he wanted,
which I think is why I call it a false defeat.
Well, he
and that's bad guys closing in too, right? Because they cut with his half-assing with Apollo like overtraining.
No, right,
after training. Yeah,
you
just give me another one. Yeah, he's knocking out his sparring partners left and right, and does not give a shit. Just give me another one.
I'm the best.
I'm the best.
Women love you.
Yeah, he's the tiger, but if Adrian doesn't approve, that's robbing him of all his joy for
correct.
One more line from the chicken scene. Why do I got to chase chicken? First, because I said so.
Right.
Faster than greased lightning.
Yeah. His heart is not in it, not on board. Adrian is working on his mind, obviously. 500 times hit the bag, and he's like, what was that, 7 or 8?
Which one was that? Yeah.
Like, Apollo, like you said, Apollo looking good. Rocky has no spirit, slower and slower. And it's interesting, because Mickey will say here, trying to encourage him, you'll be eating lightning and crap and thunder, you'll be the beast, we'll have to put you in a cage, kid. Again,
nice. A cage.
This time, because you're so, but again, a reference.
Cool. Yeah. So all I remembered was the eating lightning and crapping thunder.
Yeah.
I missed the cage bit.
All right, so here, here's where we're differing a little bit on the structure. Okay, so Adrian.
Which, to your point, all of that feels like fun and games. How can it not? Chasing a damn chicken.
Right. I think that's fun and games, and I think the midpoint is you have a false victory earlier on. I have it as a false defeat because Adrian has gone down.
Yep.
And Mickey is turning his back on him. You're a bum. Don't you come back here if you. So I think it's a false defeat. The midpoint is Adrian going down because then we're going to start talking about the Dark Night of the Soul and the bad guys closing in. And so I have the midpoint as the false defeat with Adrian in a coma and Mickey almost seemingly turning his back on him. And then the all is lost, which now has to be a false victory, right? Well, Adrian still hasn't woken up, but the all is lost, I have a false victory is Mickey is now back on his side. You're a hell of a kid, a lot more than the bum kid,
Right.
I'm only going to say this once, and then I ain't going to say it no more, but if you just want to sit here and throw it away, well, I'll throw it away with you. And I'm about to cry. Every other scene, up to the point of breaking the 3, Mickey is sitting right there with him.
Sure.
Yeah. So that's where I have the midpoint is the Adrian going down, and I skipped All's Lost, but the All's Lost is a false victory. Yeah, the bad guys are Adrian isn't waking up, and Rocky's spirit is gone, right? So these are his bad guys, his own demons. All is lost. I have Mickey back on his side, and he stays with Rocky the whole time. And again, I think these occurred fairly quickly because the Dark Night of the Soul, Adrian showing no signs of recovery. Rocky can't leave her side. He actually says, can you hear me, Adrian? Keep listening. He's reading to her. And then Adrian wakes up. They see the baby together. This is the dig down. Name the kid after the father. And then she says, one thing I want you to do for me, win. And music keys, and I'm crying like a baby, and off we go, right?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, I don't know, it's interesting because I guess I have the training, Kentucky Fried Idiot, training like a bum. Like Mickey even says, I liked you better when you were carrying spit buckets, right? So
yeah, Mickey's hard, man.
Yeah. So I have all that as bad guys close in, and then Adrian's still not supporting Apollo over here, who's preparing to kill him.
You're right.
And then the All's Lost is her going down. That's what I have. There's Mickey, turns his back on him, don't ever come back here or whatever, kicks him out of the gym, right? Yeah. And then her going.
See, all that works too, because that is certainly like he's losing everything.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, so I can definitely see it.
Defeat,
Yeah.
And then Dark Knight's them sitting around, and then your scene with the church, because that's I think Mickey staying with him and not turning his back is, part of his Dark Knight of the Soul and dig down deep and still committing,
Right. No, I can see that. I struggled with these.
No, same here. I mean, I was, but like I said, my instinct was to do it the way you did it, but I guess I was fighting against the
timing. Yes. Yeah.
Just a really long debate, and then like a whole bunch of beats all at the end. It's weird.
You keep saying timing.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I've read a little bit about that. Like,
okay, sorry.
Something's supposed to happen in the first 10% of the movie.
Snyder's so strict, I guess, on his form that like you're breaking into two, like your setups 1 to 10 minutes, right? Your catalyst is by 12 minutes in. Your breaking 2 happens by 25 minutes in. So
for an hour and a half movie.
Yeah, for an hour and a half movie, yeah.
This is a 2-hour movie, so...
hour and 50 minutes, right? Because he's got it at 110 on the final images.
Well, on my DVD, it was saying like 158. Now it's...
I thought you were talking about hour and a half movie for Snyder.
No. Yeah, so Rocky is... So you push those numbers out for a 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Well, that's why his debates,
so
like 12
flexible.
minutes to... His debates from page 12 to 24. So, it gives you wiggle room there, right?
Sure.
Yes.
So you need 12 minutes of debate. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, I guess, right?
So it's not a completely rigid structure. It's flexible.
There is, but like
15
by
minutes.
25, like that's pretty set. Like by 30 minutes into the movie, first your character to be breaking into 2, 30 minutes into the movie, according to Snyder.
Yeah, it should be a half hour for the first act, a half hour for the third act,
Yeah.
and an hour for the middle act.
Yeah, that makes
Basically,
sense. But
Midpoint's
I know
55 minutes in.
We're getting off Rocky just a little bit, but if a movie doesn't have those things, does it just feel wrong? Like if you have a midpoint that's
Well, I think the
20
midpoint
minutes
comes...
into the movie and
No, not to me. Like it just depends. I think it's a fine line if you are still into it and it's not. You know what I mean? Like if some of the beats are a little bit longer, but they're still not blurry and they hit the way they're supposed to, I think it's more forgiving. But if it's say the character development is lacking, or the setup fails to set it up properly, so you're not getting a clear character arc or opening and closing image, then it starts to feel wrong. And chances are, like, if one of the beats is wrong, then some of the others are, and then now that feels really wrong.
Well, like
that's what I call a weak movie. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The setup for Rocky 2. Okay, so like the midpoint is not at the hour. I didn't write down the time, but it's not at 59 minutes. I think most of the setup.
Your midpoint is just plain.
Right. I think most of the setup is still happening well into an hour, and it should have been over like 30 minutes before that. But you ask yourself, and it didn't affect me at all, was I at any time bored in that first hour? I wasn't.
Right. And that's where like somebody like my wife was, you know, so it's interesting. You know, to your point. Yeah,
because
it was, but I don't think she finds Rocky near as charming as we do, you know.
And to my way of thinking, after the midpoint, you have the bad guys, Dark Knight, and all is lost, right? These were, to me, fairly short beats. They, you know.
Yeah.
So you had a long setup, getting to the midpoint, and then I think a rapid movement through the 3 beats up to the third act. Because by the time these happen, the movie is 2/3 over, and we're talking about training in the fight now.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, like, so on mine, like the breaking at 3 is her. You know, why don't you do something for me? When? You know.
Yeah, I have that as.
And then music, like you said, music kicks in, tears.
What are we waiting for?
Yeah, what are we waiting for? Music kicks in, but that's his breaking. If that, to me, that's his breaking at 3. But it's all the training and the fight. That's a lot. You know?
Right.
Yeah,
So,
well,
I saw that as the back half of the second act. The third is I'm standing in the ring. I was hoping he wouldn't show up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, that technically could be true because he's storming the castle at that point.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the training and stuff?
Well, the fight is storming the castle.
Oh, yeah.
So
Training's still fun and games to me because
Even when he's training the right
correct
properly?
with the music going, and if you'll notice, I guess the directing style or whatever, it's a lot brighter. Rocky's wearing tighter fitting clothes. He got rid of the holy sweaters and stuff, and he's bouncing around with the logs.
Yeah, I don't guess I noticed
And it's just a lot more upbeat.
More upbeat.
right.
And it's fun. It's like, yeah, we're gonna go kick some ass.
Right.
So I have the act breaks. It's interesting. I just thought of it here, but Act 2. I think we should knock his block off. Act 3. What are we waiting for?
Yeah, right. I do think there's one thing I've noticed as we started doing this podcast, and I kind of write them down as they occur to me when I watch them. Is there's a lot of, I feel like you picked up on visual cues of going into the next act. Going through doorways and different stuff. There's a lot of dialogue cues too. I think,
absolutely.
Going into different breaks.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And then what are we waiting for? And then of course this is what you get with Rocky. I wrote down the words awesome montage.
Yes.
I think Stallone taught the world how to do a montage.
Oh man,
for sure.
And I wrote down these movies always get me. Stallone made us love Rocky so much that we were always rooting for him. I cry every time. That's catches the chicken, speed. I love.
Yes.
Speed. Yeah.
I love.
But it was such a good contrast from the previous montage scenes of him just hitting the bag, screwing up, and he's hitting the. Yeah. Now this, you're like, yeah, he's doing it. He was struggling so much before, and now he's kicking ass.
Everybody's in his corner too. Like, so obviously Adrian woke up, says when.
Yeah.
Mickey's back on board, right? Which I guess since start training, or he told him to get the hell out of the gym, he didn't leave him, but the whole city too. He's running with the kids, and I think they cut to Apollo. Like after all that, after the big moment of he's on the steps, all these kids looking at him, they cut to Apollo alone.
You're right. No, this is
and Apollo's wife never supported him. And even his trainer said, "Let it go." Like nobody's supporting.
Well,
Apollo.
it's I actually wrote down because it's definitely I think the tiger thing, but it's humility versus pride, right? Apollo.
It's all about pride.
Adrian, Rocky's doing this for his family, right?
Yep.
Apollo is doing this because of his pride.
Sure.
And that's why he has to lose, right?
He's got it.
And later on, of course, we know he falls victim to this pride like fatally, right? When he.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Cue the music and the tears. That's what I wrote. So the fight, always the underdog, but with the heart of the tiger. I think it's funny that he's almost late to his match, like he's making these stops, and I need a blessing in case I get beat up real bad. Maybe it won't hurt so much.
Right. I think Mickey was ready to kill him when he got there. He's sitting there pacing, and what the hell are you doing? We got a fight to do.
You like this rope? It's nice.
It was better than last year's rope. Remember that rope from last year?
Yeah, he said they're standing there, and Rocky. Hey Nick, just so you know, I'm gonna try real hard for you tonight. Okay, thanks, kid. It's like he's. Oh my god!
You look surprised. I didn't think it'd show up.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm gonna be trying real hard for you, thanks. I was hoping he wouldn't show. Would it bother you? He's still upset.
Right.
And then I guess Apollo says he's going down, and I'm still standing here.
Still standing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I guess Creed, Apollo, at some point said, I'm going to knock him out. I'm not going to go for a technical victory. I'm going to knock him out.
Which, yeah, because he had the match won, points-wise. All he had to do was stay away. The announcers say that. I think that's one thing that Stallone does really well, too, in all the Rocky movies, is he has the announcers, their dialogue helps with the fight, commentary.
No. Another round for Creed.
I know that's what they're doing, but yeah, like it just even talks about not just like you said, another round for Creed, just so you know who's, obviously visually you see Rocky get beaten up, but just how are these two guys standing? Or just like, I don't know, it's really cool.
These guys be prepared for World War III. These guys have just gone through hell.
Right.
Yeah, it's...
Like you could just read their commentary and understand how the fight goes, like without visuals.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of people, listen on radio.
I know, but like he didn't have to put that in the script. You know what I mean?
No. It's absolutely. Yeah. So then the fight, and
that's where it comes back, the southpaw thing. If it throws Creed off because he was ready to knock his block off.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says
Rocky
it didn't.
Throws
I would think it did.
Curveball at him.
Yeah.
Did the change up or switch? Yeah, Duke asked him, did the change up or switch? No, it didn't affect nothing, man. Like,
he's not willing to admit any weakness or whatever.
But even, Duke was wanting him to stay away. And there's some cool lines there that I didn't realize it till later, but Duke calls Rocky dangerous to Apollo. This man's dangerous. And Apollo immediately goes, oh, I'm dangerous.
Yeah.
Later in Creed 2, Rocky's trying to convince Adonis not to fight Drago's son.
Yeah.
And he's dangerous. And Adonis said, oh, I'm dangerous. And then he ends up losing, right?
Yeah.
And then later, like there's callback even more for the final fight. Rocky tells, Adonis, you're dangerous. It's really cool. That one, Stallone remembered all the dialogue all those years. Did he go back and watch them? Or did he just remember? Yeah. I don't know, but it's really cool. Just all the dialogue callbacks. Yeah.
And Stallone has always been an enigma to me because you get an impression of Stallone from Rocky.
Yeah.
And he was injured at birth.
Yep. In his face,
a nerve pinched in his, and so he has this slur, and it's because of a pinched nerve. But man, so you think, oh, Stallone, he's lame brain, he's a lazy brain. What is it? Slow brain? What is it?
Got like a relaxed brain.
Relaxed brain. Yeah. So you think Stallone does, but but he knows story and he can write, and it's just it's always, and I know I shouldn't be surprised, but it's always sort of weird for me to think of Rocky Balboa sitting down and writing an Academy Award-winning script, man. And I know that's not fair, but that's the power of his character and acting too, I guess.
Right.
That you
really... And to me, like if you look at him in other movies, like Get Carter, or even Tango and Cash.
Yeah.
Like to me, I hate to call it sophisticated, but like there's not relaxed brain stuff in there. Right. You know what I mean? It's
Get Carter is real good. I like that movie.
Yeah, I like Get Carter a lot too.
I'm a fan of Tango and Cash myself.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, been a long time.
Tango and Cash is awesome. Yeah,
I got that one on DVD. Watch it tonight.
Yeah, trading punches, both fall, but the man with the heart stands up. Final image. We did it.
Well, and also something that struck me that I've seen this movie 1,000 times, but he's sitting there and he's he's holding his belt and he says, with the exception of my kid being born, it's the greatest night of my life.
Yeah,
and they cut to Adrian. Like I feel like. To me, like what I got out of it watching it this time is she finally understood what that meant to her.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You see her, because she was kind of, like you said, keeping the tiger in the cage, and she finally understood, to me, like, and it's all, like, she doesn't have any dialogue, you just see it on her face.
Yeah.
Like, her acting in this whole series is really, really good.
No, I
with minimal dialogue, like she just does a lot of good stuff.
Well,
just her reactions to him. And can you drive? I mean, that's some dialogue. But
I'm one of the best there ever was.
Right, and I'll drive you crazy. Give me a chance. Yeah, but just like she'd seen this dude walk everywhere. She knew he couldn't fucking drive.
Right. I mean, and I don't know if it's ever really brought out, but at some point she must have realized that I fell in love with Rocky, and that's who he is. I didn't fall in love with the meat packer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I don't want him to fight because he get hurt, but part of who Rocky is the fighter, and that's part that I love because that's who he is.
Yep.
And I think she realizes, well, this is the guy I love, and this is who he is. If I love him, I gotta let him be, who he is or whatever. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. There's a weird fact about the fight scene, with Adrian and Paulie at the house or whatever. That was filmed way later.
Really?
Yeah, they
I read that.
imposed that into the fight just for the emotional aspect.
Yeah.
You know, I read that she was making something else and couldn't be at the arena, like when they had the when they had rented it out or whatever. So that Stallone's like, all right, well, we'll just come up with some stuff. But the doctor says she's got to stay at the house.
Yeah, I did. That's the only point where I thought it was a little weak because it sounded like, okay, you're reminding me that she can't be there because I know she's going to be there, right?
Right.
You know, whatever.
Yeah, it's the only time Adrian and Paulie aren't ringside.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so it's just you're telling me she can't be there. Got it. You know?
Yeah, but you're there with her as she's crying and clapping and oh my god,
it never bothered me before, but watching it and learning the backstory, I guess, behind it was interesting. But it didn't bother me before.
And then he holds up I don't know if we got to that part yet about the fight. The end of the fight, he wins, knocks out, holds up the belt. Yo, Adrian,
I did it.
Yeah. So
I think a lot of people think it's from the first one, but it's not. It's from that one because he didn't win the first time.
Right.
I mean, he still did it.
He's still in the first one. He's yelling for Adrian.
Yeah, but I think a lot of people think Yo, Adrian is from the first Rocky, but it's from the second one.
Yeah. So there are your images, right? The two fights, right?
Yep.
And the difference is, he showed the world what they only thought before, right? So I mean, yeah.
And he proved to Apollo he got beat soundly. Yeah.
When does him and Apollo become friends? Like
in the third one, because when he loses to Mr. T, Apollo offers to train him because Mickey dies. Like in his I guess mid 80s, early 80s actually. I guess as cheesy as they can kind of feel with 3, like we talked about that earlier, that 3 and 4 kind of start to go down a certain path. As far as story, like, and the continuation of the series, like, there's a lot of really good beats to me that make sense in 3. Mickey dies, Apollo, comes in and trains him, and brings Rocky back, and even trains up his style. Like, finally shows him, look, man, you gotta stop taking these punches on the face. You gotta have some defense and move.
Oh yeah,
like
because I remember,
it's really good. Like, I mean,
like, you should have fired Mickey years ago.
Well, because I remember Rocky.
Take another shot to the face, kid. Yeah,
I remember Rocky being just cut and fast, like being just an amazing.
Yeah, that didn't happen until 3.
Yeah. So because I definitely.
And again, I think it's where Stallone's career started to take off too, and became this. He got more because in Rambo he's cut. Rambo 2 he's more cut.
Now, did he have to stand on his head so he didn't pass out? This is a story I've heard.
I think that's Rocky 4. Yeah.
Rocky 3. He doesn't remember filming.
3. I'm sorry, you're right. It's 3. I said 4, but it's 3.
He was on such a restricted diet,
2% body fat or some bullshit, and he said years later he's like, you can't maintain that. That was nuts. Now that he's older, but
and he was. How much did he weigh at that point in Rocky 3? I think he was like 160.
Was it that low? I know in the movie they say it's like 180 something because he goes from 200 pounds to like 180.
He's like 200 because
but he was
Apollo's like 220. I was surprised that Apollo outweighed him.
Oh yeah.
How tall is he?
Stallone is short. I've heard. Is that right?
Stallone's
I don't
5'8", 5'9".
Yeah, I was about to say I don't think he's shorter, which speaks to the if he's 160. It doesn't sound as small as it is.
Mike Tyson. Right, Mike Tyson's not gigantically tall.
Yeah, he's a shorter guy
he's
too.
220. But either way.
And I think Schwarzenegger's 6 foot or so, but he always seemed taller. He always seemed like 7 foot growing up. And as I got older, I realized, he's not that, as tall as I thought he was.
Oh, well.
All right.
But yeah, this was, I got to do the pass, recommend.
Yep, consider pass, recommend. It's Rocky, man.
Yeah.
I mean.
Dig in.
I recommend it. I grew up on 3 and 4 and 5, not 5, 3 and 4. The 2 I remember are Mr. T and The Russian, and I saw this in the theater.
Right.
I know I didn't see 1 and 2 in the theater, and I was really hard pressed to remember ever seeing it. But I was totally on board, man, with 1 and 2, and I was very surprised by that, as old and as they were, and kind of different, like James was saying, from what they became. But I was totally, I am a sucker for Rocky, man.
I'm the same way. Like, I love it. Love the whole series apart from 5. I'll watch 5 if I'm just watching all of them.
I have a hard time. But I skip it, man.
Yeah.
Well, this one, Rocky 2, when I watched it for the 3rd, 4th, and 5th time this month, I found myself skipping through all the Adrian scenes because she pulled me down, man. She bummed me out.
Yeah. In the later ones?
No, in
That's
the
what
Rocky
Stacey
2.
said.
Oh,
Stacey
I was
said the
like,
same
man.
thing. She's like, I've never been a big fan of Adrian. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
it's like Adrian.
It's like the heart of the series, but they said the same thing that you're saying.
She rubs
her
me
down.
wrong, but maybe that's just Talia Shire. Is that her name? Talia Shire?
Yeah.
sounds right.
She's an excellent actress. So it's just me. But the movies are great. Totally watch them all. Go for it.
Yeah, same here. It's definitely a recommend. Yeah, obviously, big Rocky fan. I don't know which. You know what? I hate to say this, but I probably didn't see a Rocky movie in the theater till Rocky Balboa.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I saw. Pretty sure I didn't see 5, and then the others I must have watched them on tape or TV or whatever when they. It's interesting. I can remember which Star Wars movie I saw first, but I can't remember which Rocky movie I saw first. But it had to have been like 3 or 4 or something. Those had to be, the ones that, like you said, as a kid, you had the most action and moved the quickest.
I was like, why do they call this movie Rocky 4?
Right. What happened to the rest of them?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. Not even. I think I was aware of them, but I didn't ever seek them out. But then, I mean, I guess there was rental places at that point.
Sure.
But certainly no streaming, and this it was all VHS, so I probably didn't seek them out or whatever. Yeah, but the '80s it became this, big, the big blockbuster movies coming out, and Rocky 3 and 4 were, you went and saw it. I remember seeing Remo in the theater. I probably saw more movies in the '80s in the theater than I ever have since.
Sure.
Just because it was.
And I think, and we've talked about this before, but I think the '80s produced probably the highest quality of movies ever, in my opinion. There's still good movies out, but I think it's waning for sure. Like just the variety and the especially the original content. My God, I mean, now it's helping now with all the streamers and stuff, but it's all going. It doesn't matter the format. It used to bother me. Like I remember direct to DVD or TV used to be kind of this where actors' careers go to die.
Right. Yeah.
But it's that's turning around now. I mean, you're all these actors that I don't want to be a fucking superhero. They go and find some original content on some streamer somewhere. And
Yeah.
Like right now, we're getting so many stories. It's really cool. But anyhow, as far as movies, I feel like the '80s was a special time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Sherry?
Well, we've had the DVDs, the Rocky DVDs for a long time, have we not?
Yeah, about a long time ago. Yeah.
Okay, and I've never really said, okay, well, let's sit down and watch them. Now that we, I hate to say had to, but we were, Chris chose.
It's okay to say had to. I mean,
we had to watch.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I've got to watch Rocky because I've never seen it.
Yeah.
It kept my attention. I was surprised.
Yeah.
I enjoyed them. I want to watch now the rest of them to follow up.
Yeah.
I won't go back and watch them again probably, but like I said, I think the only one I'd ever seen was 4 because I do remember that whole storyline with he fought a Russian. Yeah. And
I will break him or whatever.
Yeah, I don't remember Mr. T. So you said that was 3.
Yeah, I think so. That's the first one I saw.
Yeah.
So yes,
Mr. T was big then, right? I mean,
it's his first movie, but yeah, I think he'd done 18 or whatever already.
Everybody knew Mr. T. There was Mr. T cereal. There was Mr. T everything.
Yeah, and I feel like even the way Stallone wrote the role for his characters is just good stuff. Like at one point
so now I have to go back and
he
watch
looks like a villain.
He's pacing back and forth in the locker room or whatever, and the press is,
But
can you give us a statement? Sorry, go ahead, Sherry.
No, I'm just saying, I really did like the character of Rocky.
Yeah, Rocky.
And I liked Adrian.
Yeah.
I thought it was a sweet story. I mean, it was a love story with boxing to me. So
sure.
No, right. Yeah. 2 simple people trying to make their way in the world, I mean.
Right. Yeah. So, but I really like Rocky. I mean, the character.
Yeah, Rocky makes you absolutely love him, and so you're on board for anything he does,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Stacey wouldn't have gone she's seen Rocky 1, but she wouldn't have gone for watching 1 and 2 like you guys did. But yeah, just think about it. There's some good moments in 1. I guess earlier comment about why 2 over 1. I thought about 1, but again, I think 2 is my favorite. But there's some good moments in there when in 1 after the press conference, in 1 and Apollo was saying all this shitty stuff about Rocky and making fun of him and stuff.
Yeah.
And then I think it's Paulie that asked him, "Hey, Rocco, you gonna let him talk to him?" He's like, "Oh, they don't bother me none.
Yeah.
And then he goes outside after the press conference. He's leaving the house, and it's just him and Adrian like on the porch. And he has this moment. It's like one of my favorite moments in the whole movie. He goes, "Hey, I said that stuff doesn't bother me none."
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
And then he walks off. Like I love that moment.
Yeah.
Because he acts tough and stuff. But yeah, I mean,
yeah, he's a big. He's all heart, right? So and that's the thing that makes you love him, but it's also the thing that gets him to stand up when, Apollo.
Right.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. All right.
All righty.
So that's Rocky 2. Good deal. We're out. What you're seeing is a tiger in the cage, and tigers don't belong in cages, man, And I was like, okay, I'll get through this. But I was amazed
styles of story.
Okay, do you think, was it right after he did Rhinestone or something?
Oh, no, why? Why?
Did you run up the stairs?
I didn't, and I should have. Have my Rocky moment, and then trip and fall.
But I think that's what you get with a Rocky movie, though, because
The meanest mug look ever, you son of a bitch. But anyhow.
Yeah. You get goosebumps when Mickey's like, speed, speed, speed,
Right. I mean, it was a love story with boxing to me.
It gets you, man.